Morning everybody, we're back with another video. My name is Justin, we're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV. Today we're going to be going over a 2026 Verona 40VRB. So this one we just got in. As you're standing back at it, you can look at the paint job. It's got a little bit of pearl in the paint, a lot of flake in there, so it's very, very nice, sparkly in the sunshine with the angle that we have going on right now. As per usual, we're going to start up front and work our way around. So with the Verona, you're going to have an 8.9 liter Cummins up front. It's going to produce 360 horsepower and 1,150 pounds of torque. What that means to you is you can tow 20,000 pounds with this Super C. In the traditional Renegade and Super C fashion, you're going to have the engine up front and you're going to have very easy access to all your fluids, windshield washer fluid, air intakes and all of that. It'll open up more serviceability to you to go wherever you need, to regular truck workstations and stuff, and just make it a little bit better. With the hood up here, you're going to have a grab handle in the middle and you're going to have gas struts that lower it down nice and slow. Speed it up, you can pull down on the strap a little bit. You have a little latch here you can clip over and then pull it over to end it up nice and tight. While we're on the corner right here, there's a couple things that we can cover. So they paint match that chrome front bumper, so it blends in with the rest of the coach, gives it that much more finish. On these Freightliners chassis, you're going to have a three-piece bumper here, so this middle section can actually bend inward and break if you ever get a corner impact, and you could remove that piece instead of having to remove the whole bumper. And there's a good chance if it bends inward, it may clear the tire and you could just get off to the side of the road or get where you need to go. On the corners on each side, you will have left and right observation cameras. So those will turn on with your blinkers, and once we get inside, you'll see the camera display up in where the rear view mirror would be, so you can look at that. You'll have marker lights down the sides of it, and the first ones are going to be over here, one on each side. The wheels, they're going to be wrapped in Michelin tires. They are 22.5 inch, and you have the Alcoa aluminum polished wheels and then the Renegade center cap in the middle. So your first things up here, you'll have a 50-gallon fuel tank on this side, 50-gallon fuel on the other side, totaling up to 100 gallons. There is a crossover pump in between them, so you can fill just one side of it and it will pump fuel over to the other. You'll have the textured plates here, so you can get in and out. Wet conditions, snowy conditions, good way to clean your feet off, but also not worrying about slipping during inclement weather. While we have this open, you'll see the two large mirrors. You can fold these mirrors in if you get into tighter spots. We're having to do that on the lot a lot lately, just for tighter spaces. You'll have the big top mirror that's a little bit more zoomed in. That can be an electronically controlled from inside at the driver's seat, and the bottom mirror is going to be your more concave manual mirror, so you can see a little bit more down towards the side of the coach and you don't crush those little car owners. On the inside here, you'll have a big grab handle to get inside for the passenger. Heated seats on the driver and passenger side. You'll have the floor mats, give it a little bit more sound deadening as well as a little bit of insulation. And obviously all the rubber underneath, so it gets very easy to clean if you want to do it that way. On the door itself, you'll have a little marker light, reflector really, whenever that is being shined on. So if someone's driving down the road, they can actually see if your door is open or not, because it'll beam right back at them. On the door, one of the things that's new for 2026, you'll have an electronic keyless entry, so you can set your code that you want to remember. That way you don't have to have your keys, or if you lock your keys inside, there's another way you can get in there. Inside the door, you'll have a new blackout shade that pulls up and clips up from the top, so just give you a little bit more room darkening potential when you're in there. Two electric steps. Right here, we have them turned off right now, so the steps will stay out. Obviously, you can switch it to where they automatically go in and out with the door closing. Grab handle next to the entry door. While we're here, you can see a few things. You'll have frameless windows throughout. All of your windows, besides the front cockpit windows, are going to be dual pane frameless windows. So they'll tilt out so you can have them open during inclement weather, as well as just a little bit more insulation and sound deadening factor with it being a dual pane window. In this first compartment, It's actually going to be your longest compartment. It'll be two that are tied in together. So down here, you'll have insulated carpeting down here, so you'll have less road noise transference as well as less likely to slide around. These items that are in here were transported from the factory down here. They don't move around a whole lot when you have it. You'll have the air chuck to access your ping tanks in the front in the battery compartment. So if you ever need to fill up a tire, you can do that, or fill up any of the trailer tires below. Down here, you'll have another 110 outlet and a cutout down in the center. So if you wanted to run an extension cord out to your campsite, you can do that. All your compartment doors are going to have two latches on them, as well as being insulated. And they have nice thick bulb seals with little pinholes in them, so they can actually release the air pressure as you close them. When you close these doors, don't be afraid to slam them. It'll just make sure that they're that much tighter. Up above it, you'll have an outside TV. So it is equipped with a sound bar. The sound bar will also double as your Bluetooth speaker for outside. You have two remotes out here for each of them. Renegade will label the TVs, so it just makes it a little bit easier. As well as USB ports out here. So if you need to plug up a phone, an iPad, or anything like that, you can. So up above this, if we take a few steps back, the first thing you'll see below the awning is a vent right there. So the vent is for your microwave. It will vent outside whenever you have that fan turned on, and not just recirculate the air back inside. One thing that Renegade does that's nice, just especially for the quality of motorhomes that they offer, is you'll have Girard awnings and Girard slide toppers. So you'll see those the horizontal mounted arms, and you won't have the vertical arms going down the side. So it'll minimize the holes in the camper, as well as making a little bit cleaner of a look when that awning's opened or closed. Next, you'll have a third compartment over on this side. So this one's going to be a little bit deeper than the other ones. You'll have a little cutout towards the bottom, so you can put some larger items in there, as well as some bigger storage bins. So with the M2 106 chassis, you're going to have front leaf springs as well as rear airbags. So one thing that Renegade will do differently compared to the other motorhomes on this chassis is they'll do a rear differential lock as well as airbags, or you can dump the air on the suspension for having those lower trailer heights whenever you're hooking up. We'll cover that a little bit more and show you the buttons when we get inside. So you're gonna have another compartment back here, and then they've made this one even deeper. So if you wanted to put some tables under there, you can do that. Lawn chairs, folding chairs, any of that nature. Maybe even some fishing poles if you want to put them in there diagonally instead of that front long compartment. So a couple different things you can use the storage. With it being a 40-footer, you have more storage on the campsite than a lot of the other floor plans. So one of the things that they do is they'll have all your storage on this side and then all your camp stuff on the other side for plumbing and your tanks. So this will be your last storage compartment on the outside. Not a whole lot in this one, just a little cargo light, but again, more space all on the campsite, so you can get in and out easier and have everything you need for camping on one side of the motorhome instead of having to go back and forth. On the rear of this motorhome, so there's a couple important things back here. So you'll have your rear observation camera. That's always going to be on while you're driving. It's in place of your rear view mirror. They mount it down below the roof line, so there's less likely to get glares on it, as well as give you a little bit better viewing angle. There is 2 set screws on that camera, so you can adjust the tilt depending on what your use case could be. It could be for watching a trailer, helping you back up and hook up the hitch. You can kind of change and set it wherever you need to be. Or you can just leave it where it's at so you can see who's down below you. The fiberglass cap. So it is a molded rear fiberglass cap. They mold the caps because you can put better insulation in there versus having just block foam walls. They also make it where it's a 2-piece cap. So you have a lower section and an upper section. So if you're ever in a rear end collision, back into something, you're most likely just gonna have to replace this bottom piece and not the whole cap. So that'll greatly help with repair costs, parts, and labor with only having to do one section of it. Down below, you're gonna have a Gen Y hitch. So Gen Y is has a good name in the towing industry. A lot of people are looking for those. With this hitch, you can tow 20,000 pounds, and from the factory, they give you a 2-inch ball as well as a 2 5/16 ball, and it is a 3-inch receiver. So a very, very large hitch, very beefy. It is prepped for the Voyager camera system, so if you wanted to do a small stacker trailer or any trailer with cameras equipped, you can do that. You do have your 7-way back here if you need electric brakes. There's already a brake controller mounted inside, so you won't have to worry about knee placement or anything like that. Down below, we do option them with the Renegade RV mud flap, so that's going to protect anything behind you and not worry about hitting whatever you're towing. One of the cool things they do is the generator actually vents out the back of the motorhome and not underneath one of the slides. So it just keeps those fumes away from the bedroom and any of the living spaces. As we work our way down the passenger side, or sorry, driver's side, the off-door side, there'll be this will be where all of your utilitarian type things are. So in this first compartment, you're gonna have a 50 amp power cord. It'll be on a power cord reel. So you just pull it out, run it through the cutout down here, and whenever you need to reel it back in, you suck it in, and then it'll spit out a little bit of it, so you never over tighten that cord and have a hard time pulling it out. Renegade sends all their motorhomes with a 50 to 30 amp adapter, so if you ever need to use a 30 amp campsite, you can. Down here is going to be a built-in surge protector. So that surge protector will act as a transfer, it will be your transfer switch as well as a surge protector. There's also another 110 outlet if you need to run anything from that. In this bay, you're gonna have two things. So you'll have your sewer hose holder mounted right here, up and out of the way, so it's not the lowest point on the motorhome, as well as it's not actually in one of your water bays. And you'll have an 8,000 watt Onan diesel generator in here. So this is tied directly into the fuel tanks. Right now we have it running. You guys won't hear much of it. It's not very loud. You can't really hear it from inside. You'll just feel a little bit of the vibrations, but it is more than enough power for all your motorhome needs. So this next bay, we're gonna have a couple different things in here. So down below, you'll have your engine exhaust as well as your aqua hot exhaust. In this compartment, they give you a sprayer and the little cubby for it. So I think that's new for 2026. There's a spigot that this will tie into, as well as the spray port down there. There's low point drains in here. Your dump stations are in here. Your remote valves are in here. Your black tank flush is in here. You have a whole house water filter tied into here, and then your freshwater hose is actually tied in on a power cord reel as well. So it just makes it that much easier. You don't have to worry about bringing any additional hoses unless you need that extra length. One of the cool things about the compartment is you do have your battery. You can check your tank monitors in here as well as your battery level, and then all of the labeling is engraved into the metal, so you don't have to worry about those white stickers peeling off over time. Once this hits 10 years old or so, you'll still be able to read clearly what everything is. So these next two compartments are going to be your tanks. So one thing Renegade's known for is being able to do off-grid camping. So you'll have 150 gallons of fresh inside under the bed, so it's stored inside the motorhome and protected from the elements, and you'll have a 75-gallon gray and a 75-gallon black. So we did option this one with the FlowJet macerator system. So a lot of people ask what that's for. Essentially what it is, it's a macerator pump. So if you're not on level campground or if you need to pump waste uphill, you can turn on that pump and it'll run it uphill and into the dump station, so you don't have to worry about gravity being the problem. So your next compartment is going to be your aqua hot. So for 2026, they have made standard the aqua hot 450 instead of the 250. So that's going to be an important upgrade. It'll give you more heating capacity as well as a better experience with the continuous hot water system the aqua hot has. So if you're not familiar with the aqua hot, What that's going to be is hydronic heating, so it's not drying out the air, it's actually warming it instead of running it through like an actual furnace. And then it'll be continuous hot water. Next compartment is going to be a little bit of storage. You'll see a little vent in there so you won't have, so it can breathe. You'll have a 3,000 watt inverter mounted to the roof of it, as well as your solar controller. So on the roof of this motorhome, we equipped it with 3 200 watt solar panels, giving you a total of 600 watts. And what that's going to be used for is the lithium battery upgrade that we optioned. So in here, you'll have 3 100 amp hours of lithium battery. You'll also have your 2 chassis batteries. So they are inside the compartments, don't have to worry about getting too much road debris, water condensation, or anything like that on them. And up in the top left corner, you'll actually have that air line, the quick connect that we saw in that front storage compartment. So you can use that for, you know, filling tires on your trailer, your motorhome, or anything like that. So over here, we'll have a couple different things. You'll have the other fill for the other 50-gallon tank. You'll have the fill for your DEF tank, and you'll also have the block heater plug mounted to the outside, so you're not having to fumble around and find it in the engine bay. In here, you'll have the air seats. So this is going to be the easiest side to see it. You can raise and lower it with just this switch right here. We usually have them all the way down for traveling around the lot, just so it's not so bouncy when we're going at slow speeds. You'll have the brake controller already pre-installed on this one, so it is out of the way. You don't have to worry about bumping your legs on it. And then you'll have the plug-in for all the engine specs that you need. So now what we're going to do is work our way to the inside of the motorhome. So with the 40 VRB, it's actually a very large floor plan. It's pretty open even when it's closed. Total length is going to be 40 foot and 1 inch, so you can get into a lot of places. Renegade's true to their model numbers as far as the size, so you don't have to worry about it saying it's a 35 and it ends up being 38. In the entry door, you'll have a couple things. You'll have the screen doors if you want the natural air. You'll have that blackout shade that we talked about a little bit earlier. Underneath the steps, you'll have big cubbies, so if you want to put shoes or anything that's going to be in and out or dirty, you can do that. On the left side, when we come in, it's going to be a little bit of your controls. So you'll have your house battery disconnect here, the entry step override we were talking about, and then emergency start, so you can group the batteries together if you kill one or the other. Up above, you'll have the Xantrex inverter controller, so you just can turn it on and off by pressing the power button here. And that'll make sure you're not having any parasitic draw when you're storing it from the inverter. Inside, we're gonna take a quick look at it while it's closed. So ample walking room for getting through it. It's pretty much shoulder width all the way through, with the end of the slide being the narrowest part. And then you'll have access to the half bath halfway down the motorhome. If you need to get onto the bed, you can just simply crawl onto the bed, climb over it if you need to get back to the bathroom or the rear bath. So still pretty accessible while it's closed. Easy access to the bathroom, the fridge, the kitchen, and all of the seating that you need. So now what we're going to do is just open it all up. You'll have 2 slides on this one, one large living room slide, and then you'll have a smaller bedroom slide. So what's in that bed slide is just the overhead cabinets, the nightstands, and the bed itself, and it actually will slide over the top of that bed platform, because underneath it is where you're going to have the majority, some of your plumbing and your water tanks. We'll do that so it stays cool in here. So in the 40 VRB, you do have a little bit of optional sleeping in this one. So we got this one with the recliner option. So this is 3 recliners. Your two outer ones are going to be heat and massage. Your inner one is going to be manual pull cord, so you can do that. It also doubles as a center console, so you have two built-in cup holders as well as USB and USB-C if it's just two of you and you don't need that third spot. With the dinette does convert into a bed, so you can fit one or two people on here if you need to. To do it, you flip the lever underneath and push it all the way down, and you'll take the two cushions that are one in each side and put it over the center, and you can sleep on that. You can fit two small kids, maybe a smaller adult on there. Just depends on what kind of sleeping needs do you need. If you're not going to have any extra sleeping, you can choose to leave these cushions at home, and then you have two very large drawers for storage. The main choice for sleeping is going to be the Verona overhead bunk. So a lot of our Veronas, we option it with this instead of the entertainment and storage up top, because you have more sleeping up there with without much loss. Because if you don't have those extra kids, you can do it, you can just use it for storage space as you need. Up top, as you saw that moving, you do have an electric shade up there, so if you want that extra form of insulation or some natural light, you can do that. You won't be able to see it on camera, but on the front portion of this, there's going to be two vents that are directed straight into this bunk, so you won't have to worry about cooking out someone if they're up here. The ladder goes up into here. They'll have a couple control panels, so if they climb into bed, they need to turn some lights off, or the bunk shades, or all the interior lights, they can control it from there. They'll have a cubby with an outlet in here, as well as some USB and USB-C. And there's also a TV in this bunk, so they can have their own form of personal entertainment. For privacy, you will have a curtain up there. That way you can close it off and have your own little bubble. So the ladder just collapses onto itself, and you just do the little thumb latches to put it in place, and then you'll clip it shut with the strap there. So one of the cool things about the Verona bunk is if you just push on it, the mattress is actually slanted. So it'll go up over itself, so you can get rid of the bunk and just have all of this room to get in and out of the cab. When you're in camping mode, if you need any privacy, you have the curtains that'll go around and block this front half off, as well as just acting as a little vapor barrier. So you can do that if you need to. So the next thing we'll cover is going to be kind of your living room and kitchen portion. You'll have another one of those control panels as you walk in the door on the right side instead of the left. So ceiling lights, a cargo light switch. So the cargo light is cool because you can leave all the lights turned on down below, and you can turn them on and off with this simple switch instead of having to reach around up top and fumble around with the light switches. Your awning control can be controlled right here, or on one of the main touch panels inside of the motorhome. So up above, you'll have one of your first storage compartments. So it is above the stairs, so obviously put stuff here that you're not going to need too often, or stuff that you just want when you're going in and out of the motorhome. So here you'll have your kitchen area. So in the kitchen area, you'll have solid surface countertops. You'll have a very large stainless steel sink, and it is undermounted just to give it that little bit cleaner of a look. You'll have a residential style sprayer for it. So if you want to take it, hose stuff off, change the spray settings, you can. You'll have a smaller window here. We have all the day shades down currently just to help with the camera glares, but you do also have night shades whenever you want that blackout and privacy. Outlet over here, backsplash all around the kitchen area. This one being an all-electric coach, there's not a propane tank mounted on this, and one of the cool things about all-electric, you get induction cooktop. So induction cooktop gives you a little bit more counter space because you'll get those covers that go over top of it instead of just that glass panel that goes over gas cooktops. So a little bit more prep space to work with when you need it. And obviously that backsplash just to protect the wall panels. They do add a little piece of countertop along the edge there just to protect wall panel from any sprays or mists or anything. One of your first cubbies is going to be this one. So it is a small pull-out pantry. So you have storage on top and underneath of it, but it'll also double as a countertop extension. So you just take this out of its slot there, put it in the little groove up here, and set it down on the lip right there, and it gives you a little bit more of an angled countertop. Underneath here, you have that slot for that extension. You'll have a spot for a trash can, as well as just some more storage behind it. You're gonna have cabinet down below, drawer up above. In here, you're gonna have touch-up paints for the exterior. You're gonna have the water filter. Obviously, we're not gonna put it in just for it to sit on the lot. You'll have some lubricant, and then a couple of the remotes and a little bit of tools for the motorhomes. So below this one of the things that I found cool, you will have a drawer with some dividers in it, so you can section the lids off and put some pans in here. You also have another drawer in here where this divider can actually be moved around depending on the size of what you need in here. So one thing that Renegade does just to keep that quality up is they use dovetail cabinetry. So if any of you are familiar with woodworking, you know this is really hard to do. Most of the time you have to do it by hand and put it all together, but it's just very, very strong cabinetry and all actual wood. Okay. Above that, you're going to have convection microwave. Convection microwave will act as your oven. And then you'll have a couple storage spots up above. So you do have hinges that will hold the cabinets open. Makes it easier to get things in and out without having to use one arm just to hold up the cabinet. Up here, you're gonna have two shelves. This goes all the way across. So you'll have your owner's manuals for the Renegade portion, and you'll also have the owner's manuals for the Cummins portion. And then up above that, just more storage. We'll go ahead and cover the control panel while we're on this side of the motorhome. On the home page, you'll have a lot of your main pit controls. So you'll have your light master switches, you'll have your tank levels, as well as the water pump control, tank heater, and your satellite controls. You'll be able to see all of your AC controls and as well as the aqua hot settings. So you can do the aqua hot burner, or that'll be the diesel burner for it, or you can use the electric element for it. You can see your house batteries, as well as turning on and off your generator, the details of your batteries, as well as auto gen start controls. In the second page, you're going to be all of your light controls. So you can, it has a memory, so you can turn off individual lights, turn them all off, turn them back on. It'll remember which ones are left on if you want to set up perfect scenes. If you need to reset it, you just hold the on button, and it'll bring them all of them on and all of them back to max brightness. Any of the ones with up and down arrows, you can choose the brightness level. They're dimmable lights, so you can go through and mess with all of those. Over here for the bath, you have the different bath light switches on the same little box. Down below that's going to be your electrical, so you can see what's drawing power and where your source of power is where it's going to. So from the transfer switch to the breaker box, to the ACs, and then to the batteries. Obviously we have the batteries charged up, so it's just showing it 100% and 0 amps because there's nothing left to put in them. You have solar controls here, as well as state of charge details here. The next one's going to be climate controls, so you can do your ACs. They are both 15K ACs, and they both have heat pumps in them. So if you want to use electric heat, you can do your aqua hot and electric and heat pumps. That way you're not burning through your diesel. You can control the aqua hot selection down here, as well as bay controls here, and there's a designated heat for your bay down below from the aqua hot. Next one's going to be your vent fans. You do have it in the rear bath as well as the half bath up front. So these are max air fans. They'll act like attic fans if you're familiar with those in a house. You could turn them on as well as adjust the speed, so that way they're not loud and obnoxious, but still provide some airflow while you have those out. Slide room controls are going to be in here. So you have the front hydraulic slide, The window shade controls, you can control your leveling in here as well. Your rear slide is going to be the electric slide back there, and you also can control the awning in here. Under the settings menu, you can download the mobile app, so you can download the Vega Touch Mirror app, scan the QR code, and then obviously input the PIN, and you can control most of this via Bluetooth. That way, if you're the only person camping, you can go outside, watch your slides, or watch your awning, make sure you're not going to run it into anything. It is a self-diagnosing system, so you can kind of see any of your errors or faults that are going to be displayed here, especially with the Firefly panels. You can control whether it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, the floor plan of the motorhome, the screen brightness, and then like the time and a cleaning mode, which will turn it off. So you can wipe down the screen without worrying about pressing a bunch of buttons on it. So the next portion is going to be a blend of kitchen and living. You're going to have a residential fridge in here. It's going to have a little T-lock. You just push the button and then slide it up. It is a rather large fridge. So if you're a family of 4 trying to do a little bit more camping, bring some gear and do some extended trips or off-grid trips, you can do that. Down below, you'll also have a freezer with an ice maker, and it's going to be two drawers. So a lot of freezer space. Up above, you'll have a glass front cabinet. So why that's important to you is you'll have your HDMI ports as well as the satellite ports for the living room TV down below. So the reason why it's glass front is if you have anything that uses the infrared remotes, it can shine through it and you don't have to have the box mounted to the outside. To the right of this is going to be your TV and some more storage. So you'll have a couple little shelves in here, movies, DVDs, games, whatever you want to put in here. You'll have a smart TV with a sound bar. The sound bar is going to double as your interior speakers. So if you want to connect to that via Bluetooth, you can do that. Up above, you'll have 2 a little bit larger shelves, and larger meaning height-wise, not so much depth. Over here, but down below, you'll have electrical. So you'll have your 2 breaker boxes and 1 fuse box up above. You'll also have the diagram for the Firefly. So when you pull this panel off, you can see what everything's tied into. Mainly a service thing, but gives you a little bit of know-how to it. And also Renegade contact numbers if you ever need some customer support there. Up above it, you'll have a very deep pantry. So all of these shelves are adjustable. So if you want to put different size items, cans, larger boxes, anything of that nature, you can set these shelves where you need them based on your camping style. So the next one is going to be the living slide. So in the living slide, we talked about the recliners and how they work. So the 2 side ones are going to be electric recliners. So you simply just push a button, let them come all the way out, and they do go down pretty flat. So if you're one that likes to nap in a chair, you'll be pretty comfortable. On all, you'll have 4 windows in the slides, so it does provide a lot of natural light in here when you don't have the day shades down. But again, we just have that set up for camera purposes. And they are all opening windows, so if you want that airflow and the cross breeze, you can do that. So above the recliners, you're going to have 4 cabinets. All 4 of these cabinets are tied in together. So if you want to stick longer items in here, you are more than willing to. But again, gives you much more storage space, because storage is a commodity when you live the RV lifestyle. So the next portion is going to be the dinette. So the dinette's pretty comfortable. It's very well cushioned. It is big enough to where you can seat 4 people in here. So 1 here, or 2 here, as well as 2 there. Up above, or sorry, you'll have cup holders built in, as well as an outlet, USB-A and USB-C into that. So you'll have power at the dinette if you're someone that needs to work remotely. And then above this one, you'll have 3 cabinets all tied in together as well. So one thing that Renegade does that a lot of experienced RVers appreciate is you'll have these full length valances, so that'll help block out any of the light creep from the side. They have it on most of your windows here, just not the kitchen window, just because that's one that's going to get wet and, you know, cooking or everything like that. But all your other windows are going to have that, just to prevent that light creep. So while we're going back here, we'll go ahead and look up at the ceiling. So throughout this unit, you do have soft touch ceilings. So that's going to help with sound deadening as well as the insulation factor for the ceiling. You also have ducted AC through this whole unit. So there's ample vents all through it. You saw the two in the front bunk. You also have them going all the way down both sides of the motorhome. One thing that's cool about it, when we cover the half bath, there's actually a vent in the half bath, whereas a lot of motorhomes with center bathrooms or half bath, that doesn't get a designated vent, and it's usually one of the warmest or coldest parts of that motorhome. So we'll work our way back in here, and you'll see the size of this half bathroom. The TV is mounted on a slant, so it cuts into the living room a little bit, but the reasoning for that is you get a very large bathroom instead of the little tiny closet. So if you sit down in the toilet, you have plenty of room and you have plenty of reach to stuff. The toilet paper holder's in a good spot, so you don't have to worry about reaching down, opening up a cabinet and accessing it. The same countertops from the kitchen are brought down into the bathroom. You'll also notice them in the rear bathroom and in a couple spots in the bedroom. So again, for continuity as well as long-term use of the motorhome, so you don't worry about wood swelling up or things of that nature. You'll have a little towel rack, a medicine cabinet in here, and it is triangular shaped, so it goes very deep, so you can have a little bit more stuff in here. The sink is mounted or formed into the countertop, so it makes it a nice clean finish instead of just having the steel. You'll also have a big storage compartment down below the sink, so if stuff that you need access while the slides are closed and stuff and you can only get to the half bath easily, you can pour it in or store it in here. If you want to pan back into here, we'll see the last compartment up above. So again, 2 more storage compartments, and then you'll see the first of the 2 max air fans in here. So these do have rain sensors in them, so if they do get wet, they will just automatically close. No. The next thing that we'll cover will be the washer and dryer. We did equip this one with stackable washer and dryer. It's going to be in the center of the motorhome, so it's across from the half bath, kind of in between the living area and the rear bedroom. You can see that the hinges that they use on this is to make it easier where you can walk by when you do have a clothes basket or the laundry in your hands. It gives you enough space to slide by it, and you don't have to worry about the hinges being like this and closing it and then walking by. You can have your hands full and do it, as well as easier to get stuff in and out of this because you can open the doors all the way. So the next thing that we'll cover will be some of the doors. So in the back of the motorhome, you'll see the pocket doors. So the pocket doors are going to be held by magnets and latches, so you don't have to worry about them sliding open and closed while you're traveling. But as an added feature, they also do a little button snap on each of these pocket doors in case you hit really hard bumps or a really hard turn, just for added security so it's not bouncing back and forth and scaring you. The bed, this will be a mini king bed, so it's very large for 2 people, just a little bit smaller than your normal king. Gives you more nightstand space, a little bit usable, as well as the actual storage space that you can put stuff in down below. So in those storage spaces, they are adjustable shelves on both sides, so you can use that how you need to. You'll have windows on both sides of the bed. They are opening windows, so if you're one that likes to sleep with that cross breeze, you can have that. Up above, you're gonna have 3 cabinets, again, all connected. There'll be an outlet up in the center, so if you wanna drill a little hole to run CPAP wiring through or hoses through, you can do that and keep it up here. Or if you just wanna charge stuff up there, like iPad, Kindles, anything of that nature, up out of the way, you can do that. You will have a little plush headboard mounted to the wall, just finishes the look a little bit more, as well as a few accent pillows and a blanket that Renegade sends it with. So up above, you're going to have another control panel. So on this control panel, it's a little bit harder to see. It'll most likely be upside for y'all. You'll have all your ceiling lights, a water pump switch that you can turn off from bed, as well as generator start and stop. And then there's also an interior all off and all on switch. So if you're just getting up, you want to turn all the lights on, you can do that. Or if you got in bed and left something on, you can just hit off and it'll kill everything. So generator, same thing. If you forget to turn the generator on or off, you can do that. Or if you want to wake up in the morning and start cooling down the motorhome because you had it set for quiet hours, you can do that. Under the bed, this is going to be where your fresh tanks are. So there are two ways to open this. So something that they started doing recently is adding this second hinge here. Makes it a little bit easier to access the front half of this. So you have the water pump mounted on a steel panel here to help mitigate vibrations as well as easy access to it. You have the two 75-gallon fresh tanks that are tied in together, so you can do that. On this right side, you'll see one of the vents for the aqua hot, so you can kind of see how it works. You have the fluid running through each of these registers, and then two little fans blowing the heat off of that tubing to warm up the air without actually drying it out. So the other way you can open it is you grab the whole thing and flip it up whenever you need further back access. All right. So on this side, you're going to have hanging storage, as well as 4 drawers down below it. So nice and deep drawers so you can bring plenty of clothes. So all of your drawers will be soft close. You'll have more of that solid surface countertop back in the bedroom like we saw in the kitchen, the half bath, and on the nightstands here. You'll have an emergency exit window in here, so you'll just pull the red levers, flip the window up, and you can get out from here if you ever need to. You'll have another smart TV back in the bedroom. You'll have another main control panel back in the bedroom. So if you need to control anything that you would up there, you can do it back here in the bedroom. If you want to turn specific lights on or off, you can do all that from here. Most motorhomes will only have one of these. One of the things that I've noticed working with Transwest is they have, the Renegade products will have 2 of these main control panels. So it just makes it a little bit easier to do everything from comfortable places. So you'll have 3 more drawers in the center, 1 small one, and then 2 nice large drawers. Then you'll have 1 more glass front cabinet for all of the stuff tied into this TV. So if you want to do a DVD player, Wally, anything of that nature, you can. There's going to be an outlet over here on the side wall, so if you want to set up anything over here, you can. And then this will be a clone of the other side. So 4 drawers, and then storage up above, hanging storage up above. So the last portion in this motorhome as far as living space is going to be your rear bathroom. Given it's a 40-footer, it's a little bit smaller of a rear bath than what you'd expect in some diesel motorhomes, but it is very functional. So you'll have a large radius shower in here. So I'm 5'10", depending on the day, and I have ample shoulder room as well as ample head height. So if you're a taller person, you can still fit in here pretty easily. You do have the magnetic catch in the middle, so you don't have to worry about the doors coming apart. The shower head is removable as well as adjustable, so you can set it up however you need to. And there's a little soap tray as well as little shelves up and above and below, and then a seat if you need to use that, or for women for shaving their legs. Down below the shower, you'll have a little cubby to access any of the plumbing down below, so you don't have to rip out the whole shower to get there. Just one of those little well thought out things for later down the line whenever you do need that service work. This clip is a travel latch, so you don't have to worry about them popping open when you're traveling down those rough roads. Out here, you'll get to see the large pocket door for the rear bath. So again, button strap, magnetic catch, and then a little lock that you can rotate right here and clip the door closed so you have privacy back here. So with this being a bath and a half, you can actually close off this bathroom and this bedroom just by closing the bedroom door, and that way you have plenty of space to get ready in private if you need that. So in here you're going to have another sink molded into the countertop just like that. Same materials as up front, so it's all matching. Backsplash down the edge of it just to help protect it. You'll have another medicine cabinet here. This one will have adjustable shelves in it, so you can choose what items you need in here depending on the heights of them. It's going to be a little bit more shallow than the other one, but this one is more adjustable than the other one. You'll have two cabinets up above. And then you'll have another cabinet up above the toilet. Behind the toilet you'll have a small window, and again it's still an opening window, so if you need any ventilation back here you can. Both of your toilets that we saw are going to be electric flush toilets, so it'll suck it and siphon the water back to the black tank, and don't have to worry about it. In here you're going to have, it's kind of an L-shaped countertop in here, so there's plenty of leg room even for a little bit taller people. You'll have cutouts down here where you can put towels, toiletries, anything of that nature in these cubbies. What I've seen a couple customers do is actually put those little cargo nets here. That way you can even put even more items in here and not worry about them falling out during traveling. In this cabinet, you'll have the toilet paper for this one. So yes, it's behind a cabinet door, but it's still pretty accessible and very easy to get to and not so awkward, whereas other ones who opening cabinets backwards and reaching over. They do put a second panel of wood where that screws into, so you don't have to worry about screws penetrating through the other side, as well as making it a little bit sturdier, more to bite into for that toilet paper holder. Down below you're going to have more storage, so anything you feel like putting down there, you can. And then the second max air fan is up here, up above. So the last thing that we're going to cover is going to be the chassis features on this. So this is going to be a Freightliner M2 106 chassis. What that means to you as a customer is you'll have air ride seats, heated seats, lots of adjustments in the cushions to make it that much more comfortable. You do have lumbar support with just rotating the dial, as well as armrests on both sides. So it'll make it as comfortable a ride as you can get being in a Super C. A lot of people the Super C market is kind of growing, so it seems a lot more people are buying these than Class A's these days, just for the engine up front, as well as people that used to drive trucks for a living. This is more natural to them. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to turn on the engine so we can see a few of the features up here. We'll turn that on low so we have a little bit of air, but you guys don't get any wind noise. So we'll start in the center. In the center, you're going to have a few different things. So up above, you're going to have those cameras that we were talking about. Right now, it's going to be the rear camera. That's usually what's on. You can change the cameras depending on what you need. And whenever you turn your blinkers on, these are automatically going to switch. So you don't have to worry about blind spots and things of that nature, because they are down low to the ground and on the front of the motorhome. So it'll give you the best view you can get, as well as having those large mirrors. So down below, you're going to have Garmin. So this has built-in navigation. You can also connect your phone to it, and there's also a couple different features you can do. So you can go through, play with it, and get it set up to what you need, as well as if you're driving and you don't want to mess with it, you can simply just pull it off, hand it to the passenger, and they can set up whatever they need to do and stick it right back in place. But like if a song comes on that you don't like or something, you still have these buttons behind the Garmin while they're messing with it, so you can either mute it, change the input, or just skip the song. It's held by magnets, so it's very easy just to stick back up in place. Don't have to worry about anything of that nature. You'll have power on both sides, cigarette lighter up here, as well as USB tied into that. Your leveling, so this is the other place that you can control leveling. So you'll have the manual panel up here, so you just simply turn it on. You can hit auto level, or you can adjust it accordingly just by pressing the buttons. To the left of that, you'll have some optional things if you want to tie in more lights, different features, anything of that. You'll have a shutdown or override for the engine, so that'll be in case of emergencies. If the engine is trying to weaken itself because something's failing, but you're in the center of the highway, you can do that. It'll give you full power back to the engine and you can just get off. But if you are using that, there is a risk you could damage the engine if it was trying to bring itself down. So only use that for real emergencies. It's not going to be something you rarely have to use. Cab step lights for getting in and out. Footwell is going to be underneath your feet. Your hazards is a nice big red switch instead of trying to fumble around for a button like you have to do in a lot of cars these days. Work lights, active braking assist, lane departure warning, traction control, that rear locking diff we were talking about, as well as the suspension dump for back here. You'll also have some more USB-A and an aux input for the Garmin. Down below, you're going to have your dash AC controls. These are pretty standard amongst all vehicles, so it's pretty easy to figure out. One thing that I just noticed with the 2026 is you'll have this diagram down here. So Freightliner made the change to using the controls on the column instead of that little pad, but there was never really one of these stickers to show you what each and everything did. So once we get up to the steering wheel, I'll show you each of these, but you'll also have the reminders right here. Down below the AC controls. And then for anybody that still smokes, you still have an ashtray that fits into the cup holder. So on the left side over here, so this is going to be the steering wheel. So it is very adjustable depending on what your needs are, and it does go in and out quite a bit. So I'll make it a little bit easier for Marlon to see with the camera. So first thing we're going to cover is that column that we talked about over there. So with this one being the 8.9 liter, you're going to have an actual engine brake and not just an exhaust brake. So to use that, you'll just tilt this. So you'll have low, medium, and high, or all the way up is just off. So there's different stages to it depending on what braking needs you have or your descent down the mountain. To use it, you simply let off the gas. If it's not feeling any gas being pressed, it'll just automatically start braking on its own. So even the slightest touch of it will make sure that doesn't engage. Most people use low or medium. High is really used when you're going down those steep grades and you're not trying to ride your brakes. So manual and automatic shifting mode. So you'll use that by simply pushing and holding in on this to switch between the modes. And then you'll also use paddle shifting. So paddle shifting is simply pushing it up, pulling it down, and that can change your gears. For drive and neutral is just rotating the dial. So everything's all on the column and much easier to get to without fumbling around for things. On the steering wheel, you'll have a couple different things. So you'll have your talk controls, some light controls, as well as your cruise control settings all on here. Button to work through the menu, and then call and hang up, obviously. Horn's going to be in the center, just like on all vehicles. This left side is going to be volume controls for over there, as well as navigating the dash display. On the left side over here, you'll have windshield wiper controls, your blinkers, as well as high beams. You will have automatic headlights on these, so that'll be controlled just like normal, where you rotate it to whatever you need for the time being. Let's do this, make it a little easier. On the left door over here, you'll have a couple things. So you'll have heated mirrors. You'll have the electric controls for those top mirrors that we talked about. You'll have your window switches over here instead of being in the center like they used to be. And you also have your door locks right here. You'll have cubbies on each door. So if you want to put some storage or some items down in there, you can do that. And then the last thing we'll cover will be the stuff that's on the dash. So the dash has gotten a little bit easier to read over the years. You will still have some analog as well as digital instead of those newer all digital displays. So RPMs top left, oil pressure bottom left, your fuel and your def gauge. So that's going to be two separate needles on the same gauge. So the blue one will be for def, the fuel will be the white needle, but you can still get clear indicators on where each one is at. In the center, you're going to have the digital display. So you'll have trip, all your trip settings. You'll have your speed. So if you're one that likes the digital speed and not the analog, you can do that, as well as your driver's assistance. You'll be able to see different gauges, turbo pressure, coolant temperature, your diesel particulate filter. You can manually start the regen from in here. Tire pressure monitoring is in here, as well as what locks you have engaged so you can visually see that diff is locked back there. Different settings and alerts can be controlled in the next one. And then the last one's going to be any of your personal settings based on what you need to set it at. And it looks like you can set an alarm clock as well, considering it's a truck chassis. On the right side, you're going to have your miles per hour. So again, analog display if you need it. Bottom left of that's going to be air pressure. So you will have 2 ping tanks on board. The white one's going to be for one tank. The blue one will be for the other tank. So you can see what's going on there. And then the bottom right one is going to be your coolant temperature, so you can see what temperature your engine's running at. That's going to be it for this one. So this has been the newest 2026 Renegade Verona 40VRB. If you have any questions about this, feel free to contact me. My number is 404-936-6215. If you prefer email, it's justin.rogers@transwest.com. So it's been another Super C. We'll keep it up. Have a good one.